In this video, I'm going to be sharing some of my political beliefs, but I'm going to try to stay as factual as possible because I want it to be about what salespeople can take away from it and not just a tangent on politics. So there is obviously a lot of things that Donald Trump does well in terms of closing deals and sales. He actually wrote a book on that, The Art of the Deal. And while I haven't read the entire book, I've heard the first chapter of it. I think it was pretty good. Talks about his life a little bit. So obviously, at least the way I see it, like I'm not an expert on him, but what I see in him, the values that he stands for is like strength, obviously, then masculinity to an extent, uh, conservatism, obviously, and entrepreneurship. So these are obviously all quite good traits if you want to sell. Debatably, also integrity. In my eyes, he does have integrity, even though it doesn't always appear that way because of the media and things like that. You can have different opinions on that, but I do think that he's definitely not perfect. But I do think that he has integrity in a way, in his way, for example, with the army and things like that. And those are all very important traits, like if you want to sell, right? Especially like if you want to be a closer, if you want to get deals over the line, like sometimes you need to be a little bit tough and you need to be able to make tough calls. And that's something you can really learn from Donald Trump. Also, being a little bit polarizing now, I don't think because he is obviously a polarizing figure, right? There's a lot of people that like him, but there's also a lot of people that dislike him. So that has pros and cons. The pro is that if you like him, you're really going to like him. If you dislike him, you're probably going to hate him. But in terms of sales, that is also something that can attract people, because the reality is if you have certain values that you stand for, not everyone is going to like that. And the benefit is that at least people know what you stand for. So then the people that resonate with that, which are usually the people you want to attract, actually like you and trust you even more. So personally, I don't think that you should be super polarizing. That's my opinion. I think that you don't have to be polarizing. Obviously, if you stand for certain values, you're going to tend to push away or not mesh with people who have different values. That's always going to be a given. But I think, if my personal opinion, if you go about it in the right way, you can still uphold your values, and you can people who have different opinions than you can still, you don't need to polarize them. You can disagree with them, but you can still kind of communicate them as they are normal people, right? Obviously, it's going to be a bit more difficult because there are certain things you're not going to be able to say, or that you're going to have to phrase differently. That's what I'm saying. Just because people are sensitive and things like that. I don't think it's necessary to be polarizing, but the good part about it is that you are going to attract more people that mesh more with your values. So I don't think it's a bad thing. Personally, it's not the ideal way I tend to go about it personally. I think in sales, I also would not recommend that as much. A little bit is fine, but I would not recommend it as much because I think you want to be professional and communicate with people that have a little bit of different values as well. And then I think things like empathy and being social are also very valuable traits in sales. And I think that's something that Donald Trump embodies less. And he's more about strength, integrity, you know, and toughness and making the right calls. And I think relating to people well. I think because he does relate to people really well, but it's in his own way, right? I think there's a type of empathy that he doesn't have, and there's a type of being social that he doesn't have. And I think that's something that can help a lot in sales as well. So I think it's good that he has the strength and like the boldness to an extent. Those are good traits. I just think like the empathy and the things like that is also important. I think considering the way that the world was going, I think he is like a good counterweight to what was happening at the time and what still is happening a little bit right now. So I think it's a positive movement that is happening because he got elected. And personally, I really like that. But I also think he's not a very balanced person. So I think in an ideal situation, we would have like a leader that embodies both the strength and the empathy. Personally, because I think like being diplomatic is also like a skill that works very well in sales. And that's not one of his strengths of Donald Trump. To an extent, yes. But again, he is more polarizing as well. So it is what it is. I think he has very good values, but I think he's definitely far from perfect. But I am very happy with the way that things are developing, at least at the moment, even though it's not perfect. But yeah, in terms of like sales, I think we can learn a lot from him, but you need to really try to understand him on like a technical or like a deeper level. Don't just take everything that the media says on like surface value, because then you're not gonna get anything from it. Like I would recommend reading his book, The Art of the Deal, or listening to it in like a audio book or something like that. There's a lot of things about him that inspire me, as in the way that he manages deals, but also as a person. There's a lot of things also I think I have a lot of questions about. I think many people feel a similar way. There's obviously people that really hate him as well. I'm not with that side. But yeah, I think we can learn a lot from him, both in sales and as a person. That's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, that's fine. But feel free to comment, share your ideas. Check out my next video if you want. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one. Cheers.